What's going on, my friends and followers, public subscribers? I want to give you guys a little report here for the first week of August on the north, basically the upper fresh region, northeast Texas, specifically Lake Fork report, but I throw in now a lot of other lakes and other species of fish that you can catch in these parts in the upper fresh region. So this is the public report for basically the week of August. The first week of August, and it's going to be the 1st through the 5th. If you're coming out this weekend, some of this report that I give you right now will be pretty accurate. First thing is we're going to talk to you about the lake level. Lake Fork specific first. Lake Fork is basically dropping about a half an inch a day. We're right now 402.19, which is about, for every 0.25 is 3 inches. So we are about 10 inches below full pool, somewhere in there. 9.5 inches below full pool. Clarity 0 to 1, starting to have that darker, I hate to say brown water because I don't want you to think muddy water. We're starting to have that darker summer color. Just the high temperatures, the heat that we've had the last 2 weeks has brought the water temperatures in the upper 80s, lower 90s. There's no cooling inside for probably another few weeks. And this is what we call the dog days of summer right now. It is tough fishing. There are some fish that you can catch early and late, and they're shallow. You either going to, number one, have to be shallow with deep water very close nearby, or potentially the night lights at nighttime are producing fish. And areas that are close to night lights, the backwaters and things like that, you can find some early morning fish on spinner baits, chatter baits, moving baits, things like that. Darker colors seem to be better. Later in the afternoon and the evening is honestly so hot, but the deeper bite gets going. 18 to 22 foot of water, big worms, Carolina rig flukes, Carolina rig, bass assassin, baits like we've been talking about. You got the impact shad, which is always a good one. I've really lately been getting into the vapor shad from Bass Assassin. It's real soft. It's got a nice twin tail. It's got some really cool colors that you can choose from. Like electric shiner, which is a good one, and June bug, which is also really good in this time of year. Your darker colors, your typical green pumpkins, green pumpkin magics, stuff like that. Watermelon red, those colors in the summertime work pretty good. So as far as fork goes for bass fishing, though, we consider it the dog days of summer, and it is slow. It's pretty tough. It's been a tough season altogether, but when this is this hot and no winds, you're best off to fish at night. Definitely nighttime bites on the walls of the dam, nighttime bite on the corners of the bridges and things like that, and of course the night lights. If you will do some homework and spend your time looking for the night lights out there, you can find the green underwater night lights a lot of times at midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, that you can really find some cool success and a mixed bag that you can catch on them. If you just want to catch fish, a lot of times the white bass will show up, so you'll see some huge catfish roaming, cruising. The key is to find the night light that has bait. If the shad are there, the fish are going to come there like a deer feeder. So realistically, again, that's kind of the report. There is a couple of ways that you can really catch some big fish. You're not going to catch a lot of fish, but you can catch some really big fish right now. And I'm going to save that report for the members only. I've got 3 baits in mind that I want to share with the members only. And one of those baits in specific that's working will catch you some big fish. In fact, some of the biggest fish of the year that I've ever caught have come on this particular technique. But again, I want you guys to consider becoming a member. You're a public subscriber. You're getting this information for free. There's thousands of you. You ought to come over and try the members only channel. I mean, I know that you'll spend $5, $10 on a fishing lure or a jig because the marina said that's what they're eating. Why not spend $4.99 for an entire month's worth of members only fishing reports? $4.99 is the subscription cost per month. If you don't like it, you unsubscribe. But many of you are missing out on some much more in-depth, detailed reports of locations, how-tos, techniques, color specifics, bait specifics, to Lake Fork only, members only for Lake Fork. Listen, if I've got your interest now, look in the description below this video, and you'll see a link to become a member. Click on the link, follow the process, get yourself set up. Again, like I said, try it once. If you don't like it, throw it away, and unsubscribe. You know, that's the way I look at it. How many lures did you bought in your box that you never used again? So, but I promise you, the information is so valuable. And in the season specifically, seasons like spring and here in the upcoming fall, it's really valuable. So we have over 300 members in it. Why not come on and join yourself? All right. Let's go ahead and give you some more fishing information now. We're going to talk about bass fishing in other lakes here in the upper fresh region. Give me just a second here. All right, we are talking about Ray Hubbard, guide Joe Shipley in Texas Frenzy Out Fishing. He says the water temperatures there are also in the upper 80s, 87 to 89. Bass fishing's good there on drop shots and shaky heads and Texas rigged big worms. The colors are watermelon red. That's the main color. You want to focus on 8 to 15 feet of water, on rock points, rock piles, and offshore structure. Also, if you'll start real early, you can start with a spinnerbait and or a top water bite near the wave breaks, the marina wave breaks, and the jetty walls. But that's an early morning thing. Moving on to bass fishing on Lake Possum Kingdom with Pete Hernandez, guide Pete Hernandez there. Great guide. Pete Hernandez says that the top water bite remains great 1 hour before the daybreak, and it's on dock lights. If you'll find green dock lights, much like Fork, and you'll go throw like a Berkeley, the Berkeley has a really cool popper. The bullet pop is what I call it. It's what it's called. I'm sorry, the bullet pop. You can really catch some awesome fish on Possum Kingdom right now, about an hour before the sun comes up. You can also fish those night lights all night long, and again, you're going to see mixed up white bass, stripers, and largemouths come and go through the night. Once the sun's up, if you're fishing during the day, again, go to the deep water, 15 to 25 feet. Your ledges, your rock piles, the rock piles and things that are closest to those nightlight docks that you found are going to be your better ones, because that's where the fish leave. They leave the shallow water and go to the deeper, cooler rock piles. 10 to 12-inch worms, 10-inch and 12-inch worms are working really good, and some of the heavier jigs, 3/4 and 1 ounce jigs, are also catching fish. Crawfish colors are best. Let's move on. Bass fishing on Lake Laban with Carrie Thorne. The bass are good there. Texas rigs, jigs, and white spinnerbaits used in a mix of 5 to 25 feet of water. You want to fish around brush piles. You want to fish around concrete, riprap shorelines, and submerged roadbeds. If you look for submerged roadbeds and deep rock piles, those are holding bigger schools of grouped up fish, especially later in the day. Lake Tawakoni has actually made the report this week for bass fishing. It's excellent. Okay, the water's really warm. It's in the 86 in the main lake, but the shallow backwaters are really hot, and it's forcing the fish to the docks for cover and shade. If you know Tawakoni very well, we don't fish deep for bass there. You fish real shallow all year long. They say if you're not turning dirt with your trolling motor, you're not where the largemouths are. A lot of it has to do with the stripers and the hybrids. But the early topwater bite around pads and weeds has been pretty good. But then flipping the docks with soft plastic the rest of the day has actually been a really good bite. Bass fishing on Lake Athens with guide Jay Bonner. The bass are schooling up there in the offshore areas. Your popping top waters and underspins with small paddle tail swim baits are your best bet for those open water schoolers. Man, just drive your boat out to the open water and look, pay attention, float a little bit. Go down by the dam and just float out in the open water and watch. You'll see them erupt. You'll see big schools like tennis court sized areas that just erupt with fish. Once you found an area, just stay there. Don't chase the fish around. Just kind of free float in the area and let them rise. When they rise, catch them. When you're not, wait, have yourself a soda, stay cool. Okay. If you're struggling, you're not seeing the top water bite, which some days it goes all day. Okay. The other option is you can move to the outside grass lines and start fishing those grass lines. You can also fish brush piles and humps with Carolina rigged bass assassin vapor shad once again. And then grass jigs or drop shots or Texas rig worms, any of that stuff on the edges of the grass and the brush piles can get you bit there. I told you about fork. That concludes my bass fishing report right now. We're going to move on and give you some more information. Crappie fishing. Lake Lavon, crappie. Carrie says that the crappie are good on minnows and jigs, but you need to either have minnows by themselves or tip your jig with a minnow. If you're not using minnows, you're just not catching the crappie. 1/16 ounce to 1/8 ounce jigs in white or black, and soft plastic jigs too, not necessarily the hair jigs anymore. You're fishing the timber in 15 to 20 foot of water, and some brush piles are about the same depth. Those are also producing, and the sunny days are the best days. Jackie Wiggins, one of the best crappie guides that I've ever known in my whole life, mostly because he just works so hard. There is no give up in Jackie. He's going to fill those limits every day. He says the crappie fishing on fork has really actually been good this week. Even though we're kind of in the dog days of summer, the biggest key right now is to just keep moving and find some fresh fish that haven't been pressured. There's been a lot of pressure on Lake Fork lately. He's finding them in trees and brush in 18 to 26 feet of water. But the key is to cover water and find areas that are loaded up with multiple fish. And if the fish aren't acting, you're not seeing them chase your bait or you're not catching them, move on. Don't wait. Don't keep working those fish. If you get to an area where you catch a couple and they quit biting, move. Don't wait anymore. Keep moving. Find fresh fish. And the key there is minnows. Live minnows continue to dominate. The jigs and the things like that, they're just not working near as well as the live minnows. Okay. Stripers and white bass. Stripers on Lavon. White bass on Lavon. I don't believe Lavon has stripers. 1 to 2 ounce slab spoons fished in about 15 to 20 feet of water on main lake points. And again, Carrie Thorne says, if you'll take a 1 ounce spoon and 18 inches above it, tie like a white marabou jig or a chartreuse marabou jig, you're going to hop the spoon. What's going to happen is you're going to get your fish on the spoon first. And while that fish is running around with that marabou jig being drug above it, you'll get a second fish. You can really load up the boat 2 at a time when you do that. Tawakoni. Tawakoni stripers and hybrids. The lake is about 3 inches low. It's 86 degrees in the main lake, getting warmer and hotter now. And the hybrids and stripers have actually been really good on big spoons and A-rigs, Alabama rigs, real early in the morning. The sand bass are in about 10 to 15 feet of water on ledges and points. And again, there you go with that chartreuse slab spoon, a white slab spoon, 1 ounce spoon hopped on the bottom. Again, even at Tawakoni, you can always do that trick of putting the marabou jig 18 inches above the slab spoon. And when you get one fish, a lot of times they're always followers. You know, one's running around, the others are running with it. They'll see that marabou jig and you'll catch 2 fish at a time. I don't have a lot of stuff on catfish. It's so hot right now. I know catfish on Tawakoni. Matt Cartwright says that 15 to 18 feet on cut shad and also down by the dam with cork and bobber, you could probably find some catfish. So guys, that basically concludes my free public report. That's pretty quite intense to give you that much information for free. So if you really appreciate that, hit the like button, comment below, let me know so. Hit the super thanks if this super thanks is available for you to use, and kind of pay me back for giving you such good information. Again, one more time, I would love to have you be at members only. I keep looking at these baits, and they're a couple of my favorite baits, and the biggest bass of my life, 15 pounds, was caught on one of them September 19th, 2016. The next 6 weeks, there's a bite on fork that is pretty consistent. You don't catch a lot of fish, but you can catch some giant double-digit fish. And I'm about ready to share that with the members only. So last chance, come on over and check it out. You know what you can also do is you can get archived. You can look back and look at all the archive of information. It's not just the future reports. You can look back and look at the hundreds of reports that I've done over the last 2 years in members only category. So thanks again for watching. I really appreciate your subscription to the public channel. God bless you all, and I wish you great fishing.